Well, we said it wasn't going to be too long. Welcome back, everyone. We're here for the second match of the Victory Road World Cup. Week 1 kicking things off. I'm Ben, and I'm joined here by the wonderful Shona. And we've just had a really nice game. We've kicked things off with Hisui and Zoroark Dondozo Tatsugiri. So we start as we mean to go on, hopefully. Fingers crossed, question mark. Let's see if we can get some more. We're getting things really fully underway here with the World Cup. Really exciting to be here. Shona, what a great first game. Are you excited for game number 2?
I definitely am. And I'm so glad that we already got to see 2 really cool teams in this first match. And the second team, you know, there's a lot of normal types and a lot of ghost types, I feel like, in Reg Age running around. And we definitely have a lot of those coming up in the second game as well. So, there's so many good ghost types right now. And the Zoroark was one we haven't seen a lot of, but my god, did it do work in that first game still.
I didn't even think in that first game when you mentioned it about the Zoroark being immune to Last Respect, and there's ghost types in the format and there's normal types in the format, but they're not normally together. And the free immunity, you called it out earlier, and it's too early in the morning for me. My brain did not register these things, and then the Last Respect endgame happened, and I was like, oh, okay, this is how we go. So that was really cool to see.
Especially like in combination with the illusion, if any Pokemon on the opponent's side could be a Zoroark, like, you don't have to act like this random Pokemon in front of you, this Dondozo, has 3 immunities as well, you know, until you actually know for sure if it's real or not. But that was enough about that first match. Let's get into the second match. And I believe the team sheets for our second players are ready to look at as well. And we will be watching from the perspective of Fernando Castillo, who is rocking that Mouse Ape with Annihilate Mousehold, Ursaluna, Goldengo, Rillaboom, and Dragonite. So as I mentioned, lots of normal types, lots of ghost types here once again. And Ursaluna here, especially the Assault Vest Aero Water variant. It's what we like to call Big Man Ursaluna, because that is what we call this particular set in my group of friends. So I'm a big fan of the Assault Vest Blood Moon Ursaluna.
It's a nice Pokemon, and Fernando, being a 5-times world competitor, will probably be fairly well versed in how this runs, especially at our second go round at Regulations Set H. Really like the look of some of the small decisions here. You've got the Terra Fire on the Annihilate, which is a little bit different. There's a little bit of a coin toss between fire and water on most teams that you see. But you've also then got the Miracle Seed on Rillaboom. And I wonder, especially in these team tournaments where you get to research your opponent that little bit more, how much of these little choices have been orchestrated to be able to have a slightly more favorable matchup into the teams that you know that your opponent is likely to run.
Right, because like Miracle Seed Rillaboom, I'm gonna admit it always took me a while to get used to, like, you know, not having an Assault Vest Rillaboom on the field, but you know, it is also just a different way of thinking about the Pokemon in terms of damage. And you know, people do calc for things like Woodhammer and Rillaboom potentially, or even a Grassy Glide, you know, to be able to live 2 of them instead of just to go down after 2 of them. So having that Miracle Seed to kind of mess with those calcs, I always think is really fun. Like also the Annihilate here, like I've played Annihilate Mousehold before in this regulation as well, and I used to have the spell tag on it because suddenly, you know, all those Rage Fist calcs that people go for, they don't work anymore. So kind of the same thing with Miracle Seed Rillaboom in that case.
Yeah, it's like, and seeing this Mousehold as well, something else that's throwing off calcs is that Super Fang, which isn't necessarily the move that we always see on Mousehold. It's got, especially these Friend Guard sets, they've definitely got 4 move slot syndrome where you kind of want lots and lots of different tools on it. So it's a really cool composition. It's really solid, really stable. Big questions about whether or not the Annihilate is going to be getting set up and getting a bit mad But let's flick over to Nikola's team and see what this matchup is going to be looking like.
Yes, and speaking of that Super Fang, that's looking really great into Nikola's team here, in my opinion, with that Dragonite, Incineroar, Goldango, Annihilate, Ninetales, and Ursaluna. I actually just played against Super Fang Mousehold yesterday when we were playing a friendly against Singapore. And when you think about it, it is really good against so many tanky Pokemon in this meta. You know, a Dragonite to break multi-scale and already get good damage on it. Incineroar, you know, with its Intimidate to lower damage, you get half damage on that. And the Assault Vest Ursaluna. It is also very tanky mon, just being able to get half damage on that. Also the Ninetales, you know, in hail or in snow, it gets a defense boost. Break that Pokesash and already have half HP gone. So Super Fang, you know, the more you think about it, really good move on Mousehold, especially considering that it's usually only there to go for that beat up to boost the Annihilate. And otherwise, you know, it's not really there to deal damage unless you're going for like the Population Bomb set, but that is, you know, again, slightly different than with the Mouse Ape setup. So yeah, big fan of that move in that case. But Nikola's team also looking really, really strong.
You mentioned the Ninetales, and I'm really glad you did, because that fourth move on Ninetales is something that we're seeing picking up in popularity quite a bit. This Icicle Spear to be able to boost up the Rage Fist on Annihilate instead of going for a beat up. Ninetales is not a powerful Pokemon on its physical side, and so you're not doing that much damage. You do have to roll the dice a little bit and say, well, hopefully Icicle Spear hits more than twice. But even so, just getting that Rage Fist up to 150 base power is more than enough to get things kicked off in a match. And so I think this is going to be quite a tense match between these two players. The only difference between their teams is Rillaboom versus Incineroar. Usually that favors the Incineroar, but it is all about how these trainers play it. And the Annihilate and the Ursaluna on both sides of the field are going to put in, I think, a lot of work in how these teams match up.
Yeah, and I think we are ready to get into game one. They do have 4 of the same Pokemon, so you know, but I think, as you mentioned, the Annihilates and also the Ursalunas especially can be very important here. And it is going to be just that Mouse Ape Leap against the Dragonite and the Ninetales. So both players, I think, looking to set up here a little bit. Though on Nikola's side, it is more, you know, on the defensive, maybe the Aurora Veil and the Tailwind for speed control. And Fernando might just be ready to go for a beat up and Rage Fist here.
Well, this is the thing, because in a lot of Friend Guard cases, the Mousehold is pretty slow, but it's carrying a Focus Sash. It's likely to. Fernando is invested in their speed. And so this Ninetales, where it would normally be faster, and still is in this case, it could have been the Mousehold that's been faster, trained to be faster in this spot. But no beat up, just a Super Fang into the Dragonite, followed by a Rage Fist with the Aurora Veil. This is not even close to picking up the KO. Maybe a little bit of beat up could have been really nice in that spot, but it looks like this Scale Shot, even with 5 hits, is not knocking out this Mousehold this turn.
I think going for the Super Fang is fine here. I actually really like that to, you know, break the multi-scale on the Dragonite. Annihilate is not a Pokemon that always needs to have a beat-up Mousehold next to it. You know, Nikola also is playing that Annihilate without the Mousehold. But I feel like if you're going to go for a Super Fang here on either the Dragonite or the Ninetales, you can easily go for a bulk up here with Annihilate. This Ninetales does not have Encore or, you know, Sable. It has Blizzard, Icy Wind, Aurora Veil, Icicle Spear, so there's no danger here to get Encored into a bulk up. Of course, Dragonite could go for a Haze, but, you know, going for a Haze instead of like a Scale Shot or a Tailwind, you know, that is a turn Dragonite has to invest into that Haze, and I think that's totally fine. Like, I think going for that bulk up here to get that little bit of boost and maybe force a Haze, or even break the Sash on the Ninetales as well would have maybe been more beneficial.
Well, it's going to be a Tailwind coming out from the Dragonite. Super Fang onto the incoming Ursaluna. That's really big. There's that bulk up you wanted, Shona, coming out onto the Annihilate. So it's going to be boosting itself up, and Dragonite is going to have to haze away its speed boost, but also its defense drop in order to wipe away that bulk up from the Annihilate. And now that the Tailwind is up on Nikola's side of the field, I think that Haze is looking that much better.
Yeah, and actually, I'm gonna take that right back when I said it the first time. I actually think I'm fine with the Rage Fist into the Dragonite. With the defense drops and all that, you might be able to take it out here. So good job on Fernando on that. I'm just seeing that right now. But the Mousehold, doing half damage on that Ursaluna as well is just... Yeah, that's a really tanky Pokemon behind Aurora Veil, and it's already taken half HP just like that.
It's pretty tough in this spot, and I think like you've got to find a way to maneuver your Mousehold on Annihilate in your opponent's Tailwind in a way where you're not going to lose it quite as quickly. Here's a Terra Water coming from the Ursaluna, so Nikola keeping it nice and safe from a Drain Punch, and there's the Haze, wiping away that bulk up, making sure that that Dragonite is that bit more bulky, but also this Annihilate isn't doing as much damage. It's always Turbo Bear, isn't it? Every time you think that it might not be Turbo Bear, it's always Turbo Bear coming out. Hyper Voice knocking out the Mousehold. The Rage Fist getting a boost, but it's so important that Dragonite was able to Haze there, being able to just hang on with a Sliver.
Oh yeah, for sure. And honestly, as long as I don't see Bloodmoon Ursaluna in a hard Trick Room team, I'm gonna assume it's a Turbo Bear every single time.
True.
Especially here, since there's not even the Trick Room option, there is only the Tailwind option. It's always gonna be a Turbo Bear. Always, every single time. And
every single time.
We have another Ursaluna here on the field, which of course could go for that Vacuum Wave to just take out the Dragonite, but I still think, being able to hang on there, thanks to that Haze, is still really, really good here for Nikola. I also have to just call out just how well that Annihilate tanked the Hyper Voice of the Ursaluna. It had the Friend Guard, sure, but it's still a Ursaluna.
No Vacuum Wave coming out here. This Dragonite gets to go for a Scale Shot and do quite a significant chunk of damage. Wondering if this is a double up into this Ursaluna. 4 hits, not 5. A little bit disappointing for Nikola here, twice in a row. But there's the Blood Moon, the follow up into the Ursaluna.
6
One
HP!
more hit would have done it. 6 HP that it's hanging on with.
Fernando.
Now a Rage Fist with the Aurora Veil from Fernando coming out and not really doing too much. The Ursaluna hanging on. Nikola really leveraging that Aurora Veil that they got in turn 1.
Fernando knows his calcs, 6 HP on his Ursaluna there, really, really big. Gets to KO that Dragonite, so the Tailwind setter is gone, and now, of course, both of these Ursaluna are hanging on with just a little bit of HP, but they are still a very big threat here for both players.
Definitely, both of them have access to Vacuum Wave as well, so with Nikola definitely being the faster of the two, it's very likely that Fernando has got to think very carefully about how they position their Ursaluna, whether it's done what it needed to do already and now can go back to Fernando, whether Nikola is happy or not to take the KO with a Vacuum Wave or risk going for a Hyper Voice in the face of a Vacuum Wave that may knock out the Ursaluna. But I'm wondering, Shona, with Terra Water and the Aurora Veil up, whether a Vacuum Wave from Fernando's side even knocks out Nikola's Ursaluna from this spot.
Thinking that. I'm not even sure. And Nikola's actually going to switch out his Ursaluna into the Goldango. Could potentially be calling that Vacuum Wave here to, get that switch. And Annihilate is going to go for a Protect here, try to stall out that Tailwind and that Aurora Veil a little bit. But the Vacuum Wave goes into the Ninetales, breaking that Focus Sash, which, in my opinion, really good here. Icy Wind not gonna give the Annihilate a Defiant boost, but will take out that Ursaluna.
Oh, now that's living life on the edge for Nikola, going for the Icy Wind into a Defiant Pokemon. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it.
And but now in the Goldango. Because it could have been a Rage Fist into that Ursaluna.
Could have been. Yeah, absolutely right. And that would have been significant amounts of damage, I think, overall. Now the Aurora Veil's gone, and with Annihilate still capable of going for its Terror on Fernando's side, I feel like Nikola's not actually in a particularly great spot here, even though they have the overall Pokemon advantage. it feels like it's going to be quite difficult to position all of your Pokemon in such a way that you can get through the rest of Fernando's team, where only your Golden Go is really capable of dishing out a lot of damage at once. And if you don't quite KO that Annihilate on Fernando's side, well, it's got a Citrus Berry. It's just going to restore its HP, maybe get a Drain Punch up as well, and restore it further. So I think Fernando's found themselves in a really strong position here.
Oh yeah, I would definitely agree that the Icy Wind is still gonna come out there. And wow, that was actually big damage on the Annihilate. Is gonna get a Defiant boost here, but the speed drop is what's crucial here, because this could allow Nikola to potentially get a KO with the Shadow Ball, but it's actually going to target the Goldango, probably predicting the Terra on the Annihilate. But it is a 50-50 call here, gets the wrong target, and the Rage Fist, that's definitely going to take out the Goldango on Nikola's side here. And yeah, down it goes, and I'm gonna guess we're gonna just see a Make It Rain here from the Goldango to take out the Ninetales, and you're definitely taking out the Ursaluna with just a few HP in the back.
Yeah, there's no likely. Well, actually, okay, so here's the thing: the Annihilate has taken a speed drop, and we know. Oh, okay, yeah, right. I was thinking the Ursaluna was on slightly more HP than that, but I was thinking after the special attack drop from the Make It Rain, maybe there's a way back in for Nikola with the Ursaluna, but a Rage Fist still going first after the Icy Wind means that Annihilate has been trained to be pretty fast, and Fernando really taking advantage of that. The Annihilate staying on the field all through that first game, taking the first win for Panama.
And that is very important information for Nikola to keep in mind for this incoming game too. But I do still like how both players played that first game, very much so, and that end game, like, even I'm trying to think if, like, let's say the Goldango does not go for the Terra Water and it's the Annihilate, you snipe the Goldango, Ninetales stays on the field. That way, yeah, then it probably is Nikola who is able to take that last game, because you get another Icy Wind, you can, and then you should probably outspeed. You've kind of got to
freeze the Annihilate at that point, I think. I think you've got to freeze the Annihilate.
If you get another Icy Wind speed drop, maybe your Ursaluna then outspeeds the Annihilate. Like, I would...
Could be, yeah, that could be the game plan, yeah. But it's tight either way.
That was a very close end game that, might have come down to that 50-50 of calling correctly which ghost type is going to Terra to not go down to the Shadow Ball.
Yeah, and then whether or not the Rage Fist comes through or the Golden Go.
Yeah.
Or not in that case. Because that Rage Fist, I mean, it almost doesn't matter how many times that Annihilate's been hit, it's also at 2+. So whenever it's been hit, it's kind of more than that as well. That's doing a significant chunk of damage. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Game 2. Game 1 already pretty close. Game 2. Do you think that Nikola can try to take down this Annihilate a little bit sooner rather than later?
Yeah. I would think that, if you have a Dragonite lead, which, is a great Pokemon to lead, you get that Tailwind really early, but once that Tailwind is gone, we saw how important the speed control there was, also the Ninetales going for that Icy Wind, but it might have just been a turn or two too late, if you take out the Annihilate earlier, or even just get a good amount of damage against it where, we saw how much Icy Wind did to it, so maybe even a Blizzard in the end game can take it out, and then that end game looks very, very different.
Very much so. Okay, without further ado, let's get ourselves into Game 2 and see how this game shakes up, because this could definitely go either way. There's definitely a comeback story here. Dragonite and Ursaluna kicking things off, so no Ninetales in the early game, but also no Annihilate coming out from Fernando. So both of these trainers mixing things up quite significantly.
Yeah, for sure. And but we do have Ursaluna right here again, so there is going to be that Tailwind option once again as well. The Ursaluna lead here in a way, I actually really like just, being able to go for Blood Moon right away. Or, you do threaten that Goldengo as well, but, that Mousehold having the Friend Guard probably means you want to take out that Pokemon first. But it, if it goes for a Protect here and you let the Goldengo get a free Nasty Plot, also not that great.
Yeah, it's like this is where the Terra Steel comes in pretty big, doesn't it, on the Dragonite, because that really does resist Goldengo pretty effectively, and that's at the expense of being able to be a Drain Punch target. But it does mean this Make It Rain is not nearly as threatening into the Dragonite.
Oh yeah, and but still with the was that the Super Fang that came out first, I believe?
Super Fang into Dragonite, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's still gonna hang on, but the Earth Power is gonna go into this Goldengo, but thanks to the Friend Guard, is gonna hold on with just a little bit of HP. So personally, I really like this turn 1 from both sides.
And I like it a bit more from Nikola's side. Actually, the Goldengo not going down here is probably an advantage for Nikola rather than Fernando, because now the Goldengo is a target of Hyper Voice and Scale Shot from Dragonite into the Mousehold, and you could potentially take a double KO here. Fernando seeing past that, of course, and going for a Protect on the Mousehold, but there's the Hyper Voice trying to get the pickup with the on the Goldengo. Does manage it, even though the hit's resisted, even though the Friend Guard's in play, that Goldengo is no longer on the field. And here this is like speaking to what you mentioned earlier at the start of this game, Shona, where Nikola's trying to get Tailwind and make a little bit more of it a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, and like on the one hand, having the Goldengo not go down yet means that, okay, this Mousehold went for Protect last turn, so it cannot go for Protect this turn to protect this Ursaluna a little more. On the other hand, it means you had to give up one of your Tailwind turns, which, are so important, but you still have them right now, and the Mousehold did just go for a Protect, so in my opinion, still an okay position here for Fernando, but the Dragonite being the Steel Terror right now means that that Vacuum Wave is going to be super effective if it decides to come in, but Dragonite gonna switch out here into the Ninetales, and if you're Fernando here, thanks to this Mousehold, whether you go for Follow Me or not, and it is going to go for Follow Me, I think this is a great position to maybe just even go for a Hyper Voice or a Blood Moon or something.
Yeah, I like the Blood Moon here into the Mousehold, try to knock it out, but clearly Fernando has been in the damage calculator, making sure that wasn't going to knock it out. Fortunately for Nikola, he's also been in the damage calculator because that Blood Moon did not knock out the Ursaluna either. We're getting this situation once again where these Pokemon just hang on with a sliver.
And I mean, that's why they are really good Pokemon. This Ursaluna, that was still big damage.
Was it? What is it you said? Big boy Ursaluna?
Big man Ursaluna. That is
big man Ursaluna. Yeah, okay, I like it. I mean, it's proving itself worthy of the title right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have quite a few friends who are a fan of Ursaluna, and I mean, same, so am I, and there's a reason for it. It's just so tanky, does good damage, like especially this Assault Vest set is so good, and it's gonna be that Terra Water for this Ursaluna here as well, is just really strong to have, especially, this Ninetales doesn't have Freeze Dry, so that's looking even better. Mousehold here going for a Protect again, love it, keep that Friend Guard on the field as much as possible. The Aurora Veil coming out here, but we're fine with this, we just go for damage.
Yeah, Hyper Voice coming out here, I think it's a smart swap out into the Dragonite here to be able to take it, because the Ninetales is not going down super quickly. A Blood Moon might take it out from here, but we know that Ninetales is actually faster than the Mousehold, and this is the opportunity for the Blizzard to come out and start putting some damage down onto... knock out the Mousehold, start putting some damage down a little bit more onto the Ursaluna. Maybe go for a little bit of a freeze here. There's always that potential while you're knocking out the Mousehold. It's like a little bit of a bonus if it comes through. It doesn't in this case, but now we're reaching our end game here, where Fernando has the Annihilate and the Blood Moon, Ninetales and Goldengo, with the low HP Ursaluna in the back, right?
Right, so Nikola lost his Dragonite there to the Vacuum Wave in the last turn, but you do still have the Ninetales on the field for speed control. And once again, yeah, you know, the Annihilate, it does have Defiant, but you can easily just go for Icy Wind and Shadow Ball into Annihilate, who, yeah, is going to go for a Protect, but the Terra is out is the point. So you could also, yeah, Protect with Goldango here to try and see if Annihilate decides to go for a Protect, and then go for that play in the next turn. So, yeah, the Annihilate not having the Terra here anymore means that it is very, very susceptible to an Icy Wind.
Yes!
+8, no!
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You jinxed it.
All right. All right. Hands up in the air. I'm biased again. I played Ninetales for a long time, and that was always my favorite thing to be able to do, is just to get those little freezes off. It's so valuable. Doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it really makes a difference. Now this Icy Wind going into the Annihilate, making sure this Goldango is faster than it. Shadow Ball, the follow-up into it is enough to pick up the KO onto this Annihilate. Nikola has put themselves in a phenomenal position.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much the freeze really matters in terms of how the game plays out, but
let me have this one. Let me have this one.
Like now, there's nothing that can go wrong anymore. Like now, there's nothing that can go wrong anymore. So in that sense, yeah.
With the Aurora Veil and being an Assault Vest on the Ursaluna, the Earth Power doesn't necessarily KO the Goldango, but maybe it puts it in range of a Vacuum Wave. So there are definitely these factors that come into play here. The Special Defense drop, I think, probably speeds this thing up a little bit more. But now we get the 4 out in the Earth Power, so let's see if this Goldango goes down. It does not. The Aurora Veil wearing off. So yeah, this is Goldango definitely in range. But there's 2 Pokemon that you need to Vacuum Wave right now if you're Fernando.
Yeah, and is going to take out that Ursaluna, so that Goldango will get the opportunity to just take out the Ursaluna here with another Shadow Ball. And that is going to be Game 2 going to Nikola, which means we have a Game 3 coming in. And yeah, I mean, the freeze in the end there, you know, it didn't really matter as much, but it's still always, it's fun, you know? And I'd rather see it in a game like this, in an end game like this, where it's not the turning point in an already won match or something.
Hey,
yeah,
look, you know, and you click Blizzard enough times, you will get a freeze.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, we have a lot of Ninetales players at our locals as well, and the amount of freezes I've already gotten is insane. But it is just, you know, that good that, you know, if you let the Ninetales get too many Blizzards out, you can get frozen, and that can be a very dangerous situation a lot of the times. Yeah. It's not always an instant loss or anything, but it is something that you have to consider when playing against Ninetales. It's not something to just dismiss as, oh, you know, I got unlucky because I got frozen by Blizzard. Well, the fact that if you get frozen by Blizzard a lot, then maybe you're just letting Ninetales get off too many Blizzards, you know?
Too many Blizzards, yeah, exactly. And I think, like, both of those players played the game overall really well. I think Fernando, maybe the idea of starting out slightly differently when to adjust to an adjustment from Nikola, not bringing the Annihilate because they were probably suspecting that Annihilate would be the real target of Nikola's game plan in Game 2, I really like. But also at the same time, the Annihilate did a lot of work in Game 1, and it was one of those pressuring Pokemon, the damage-dealing Pokemon, that forced Nikola into a little bit of a bad spot. So I would quite like to see Fernando actually go back to what worked for them in Game 1 here. Maybe try to get that beat up in the early game, although the Super Fangs have been doing quite a lot of work as well, putting the pressure on. And I wonder if that's the game plan for Fernando here to try and bring this back, because of course Game 3, it could go either way here.
Yeah, I think Fernando, I think, realizes that in terms of speed control, he does have a little bit of a disadvantage here, since you know, Nikola doesn't only have the Tailwind, just like, you know, Fernando does, but he also has the Icy Wind, and Fernando doesn't have any other form of speed control. But we didn't always see like Dragonite and Ninetales on the field at the same time. So, an Icy Wind can be Haze. Technically, you'd probably have to go for Terra on Dragonite.
Yeah.
But there is potentially for Fernando to maybe also go for a route where he, does try to use his Tailwind as well. But I do also agree with you that, what worked game 1, try to go for that again could very well be the strat here as well. Yeah.
Should we see?
Shall we see? Let's see.
Let's go for it. Let's get into game 3 here. This is the decider as to whether or not Luxembourg or Panama are going to get that match point. All important match point, because that's what it can all come down to in these tight team tournaments. Dragonite and Ninetales, and it's going to be Golden Go and Mousehold again. So Fernando really sticking to what they thought was going to put them in a strong position in game 2. But no Ursaluna Blood Moon out for Nikola.
No Ursaluna Blood Moon out for either player. And that's because I just said we haven't seen Dragonite and Ninetales on the field together yet, I believe. Well, there it is in the lead, so never mind that. But I like Fernando's play here to maybe try and set up, not a Rage Fist, but in this case, maybe try to set up a Nasty Plot, or just maybe go for a Make It Rain. Try to break that Focus Sash, try to break that multi-scale, and, maybe even go for a Super Fang on... I mean, definitely go for a Super Fang on something first, but taking out the Ninetales here could actually be really, really good for Fernando in the late game, in my opinion.
Okay, so Super Fang going into the Dragonite, but no Terra Steel this time round. I think Nikola didn't like being at the mercy of Vacuum Wave, but still putting themselves in a position where actually Vacuum Wave could be a little bit problematic with now this Ninetales down in its Focus Sash, and of course Dragonite being down at low HP. There's 2 hits already from the Scale Shot. It's going to hit at least 4 times, but can it hit the 5th time, put this Mousehold into range as well?
I actually, because I was thinking that maybe going for the Super Fang into the Ninetales to just get rid of that Icy Wind user would have been more beneficial, but actually I really like Fernando going for the Super Fang into the Dragonite here instead, and having both of these Pokemon in such low HP range that, the Ninetales can technically easily just go down to a Vacuum Wave now, and despite the Aurora Veil, despite the special attack drop, both of these Pokemon should still easily go down to another Make It Rain, and Nikola has to keep that in mind. He's, at the verge of losing already 2 of his Pokemon here in this game 3.
Right, because what's stopping this Golden Go just going for another Make It Rain? Not really anything at the moment. Nikola doesn't have the Blood Moon Ursaluna on the field, doesn't have the opportunity to go on the offensive here. And I think this is why this is such a nice pivot into the Golden Go. Unlikely that you'll see a Shadow Ball coming out here. The Dragonite takes advantage of the speed boost from Scale Shot, gets a Tailwind, but then here it is! Shadow Ball!
Oh my god, the Shadow Ball comes out into the Goldengo. Great call there from Fernando. That damage that the Goldengo took on Nikola's side, I think, is going to be really important. It could very well be extremely crucial going into, this mid-game or end-game later.
And now the question is like, well, does the Nikola's Golden Go that's just switched in need to now start going on the offensive with a Shadow Ball into Golden Go, because the Mousehold Super Fang is less effective now that Nikola's Pokemon are at lower HP. The beat up isn't really going to do any significant damage. So with this Golden Go coming in and the Tailwind being up, I think actually Nikola's taken what looked to be a pretty difficult situation.
Timer.
Okay, I think they got it.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
That was Switch 1, they didn't get it. Switch 2, if this is Switch 2, I think they may have got it.
Because I think he was still hovering over beat up while the timer was going, so, well, we'll find out, but understandable that this is a bit of a tough turn. You do get the Terra on the Goldengo, which I think is important here, and, if you manage to take out this Dragonite now, I think Fernando is looking to go into a very good end game here, especially considering the Ninetales is already at 1 HP. Mousehold goes down here, but honestly, I think it's done its job. It's help the Skoldengo get 2 of Nikola's strongest Pokemon down to very low HP. And opposing Goldengo is going to go for a Shadow Ball. So I think it doesn't matter what the Mousehold went for there. Important is that the Goldengo locked in the correct move. Oh, and it is actually going to be another Shadow Ball here on the Goldengo as well. And yeah, going to bring it into the orange range HP. So both of these Goldengo low HP right now. But I still think I like Fernando's position here way more. I'm not too sure if you bring in the Ursaluna here. Although you could. I think this is fine. Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing here is that the Rillaboom's in the back, and that Goldengo's a Terra Flying on Nikola's side, and we know that Fernando has brought the Rillaboom. So actually, that could be quite a big deal, depending on what the last Pokemon is. Kind of like to assume that it's Blood Moon Ursaluna, and the Rillaboom's going to be pretty good in that spot for Fernando. But actually, Terra Flying makes it not take too much damage from a Make It Rain, and so Fernando's going to have to use their normal type attacks, a Hyper Voice, to be able to dish out enough damage. But that, in and itself, allows the Ursaluna to get targeted down with a Make It Rain and a Scale Shot.
Yeah, I was thinking of, if you bring in the Rillaboom, seeing as the Goldengo is not a Ghost type anymore, you could go for Fake Out, or you could also, once the Tailwind runs out, just go for a Grassy Glide into this Dragonite that's taken some defense drops. But I think bringing the Ursaluna here, because if you bring in the Rillaboom, your Goldengo kind of easily goes down without not doing anything. 5 hits. This could be big. I was going to say, with the Ursaluna here, you have 2 threats that you need to deal with as Nikola. But the Make It Rain here, gonna go into the protecting Goldengo. Big Man Ursaluna! Big Man Ursaluna! Let's go!
Okay. Now, I thought that was going to be enough there with the Life Orb and the Goldengo, but not quite. Hyper Voice going off, Fernando getting a double KO here. And that 5 HP in a Dream is everything that Fernando needed in that spot.
We have already established both of these players have been in the calculator when it comes to their defenses. They've shown it time and time again in this best of 3. So huge double knockdown there for Nikola. There is a full HP Big Man Ursaluna coming in here right now, but partnered with that Ninetales that's at 1 HP and does not have any way to protect itself. But
No.
I believe there is still 1 turn of Tailwind, which means, Nikola's Ursaluna is going to be the faster one here at the moment.
Oh, yeah, and that's really important, isn't it? Because the Blizzard is probably going to be enough to knock out the Goldengo here single target, or could be, depending on how it's trained. But because it's a Focus Sash on the Ninetales, it's probably more offensively orientated. And there it is. Blizzard knocking it out. That last turn of Tailwind coming up absolutely clutch there, allowing this double KO back. So 2 double KOs in a row. Now the snow stops. Now the Tailwind peters out. Aurora Veil goes as well. And a Rillaboom with a Miracle Seed could be enough to close out this game if the Blizzard is ye old unreliable.
Yeah, so you can... I think you always take out the Ninetales here. The thing is, if this were like an Assault Vest Rillaboom, I'd say this should be... Although, I'm not too sure. If you live the Blood Moon here from Ursaluna, then you definitely just go for a Wood Hammer in the next turn, and that should knock it out. Yeah, 30 HP, closer than one would expect, from a Rillaboom. We're used to the Assault Vest
terrain
house.
recovery. This is close as to whether Vacuum Wave knocks it out. Not going for it. Woodhammer goes in. Big Man Ursaluna goes down. Fernando taking this game for Panama. A 0-0 victory.
Yeah, don't we love those? Those always feel the most satisfying. A 0-0 victory with that last bit of resource.
Cool. Yeah, it's like, I do wonder if the Vacuum Wave was enough to knock it out, but I kind of even without the Assault Vest, I kind of suspect that the Vacuum Wave doesn't quite get there. And
I think it does. Because Grassy Glide, I think Grassy Glide does not take out the Ursaluna, so you can definitely go for a vacuum wave there. That is your only hope, really, because what are your other options? I mean, I guess I can see, you know, hoping the Rillaboom goes for a Grassy Glide and then you go for a Hyper Voice or whatever, and you definitely, you know, take out the Rillaboom. So it is a tricky situation, you know, especially since that is something that can throw you off.
Yeah, it's just whether or not the Woodhammer, because if it was Assault Vest, you would take the Woodhammer. More likely take the Woodhammer if you're Ursaluna. You probably do. But then your Blood Moon doesn't do enough to put it in Vacuum Wave range. So I think like either way it's problematic for you in that spot. And I think the big deal is that Tailwind. We talked about it earlier in game 1 and game 2. The use of that Tailwind, how much that was affecting the overall game state for Nikola. And being able to use it, Nikola got into the position where it was that Woodhammer or that Rillaboom versus the Ursaluna. And then if it was the Annihilate in the back instead of the Rillaboom, and Fernando had not adjusted to make sure that they could deal with the Ursaluna in the back, maybe that's another different story where the Drain Punch is not quite enough, but maybe it's enough recovery. Like you just, it's so close between these two players, but. Fernando played that so well across the set.
Oh yeah, for sure. And was the Aurora Veil still up in the end? I think it. No, it wasn't.
It had just gone. The Snow, the Tailwind, and the Aurora Veil all expired on that before that final turn.
Right. But I just I was thinking on the wrong board side on that, but because I'm surprised that. I mean that Blood Moon. It is these damage calcs that can, you know, really throw you off. Where with Rillaboom,
it's the Miracle Seed. It's the Miracle Seed doing it.
Yeah,
that's what's going on for sure.
Also defensively, that, you know, we're used to Rillaboom defensively having that Assault Vest against the Ursaluna, and Ursaluna, although the Assault Vest set is not uncommon, you know, there is also that Life Orb set that we're used to in terms of damage calcs, you know.
Right.
So yeah, for a turn, you know. Given that they only have 45 seconds, it is a really tough end game there. But yeah, really fantastic best of 3 from both of these players for sure.
I think so. Well, what a great first couple of games that we've had here for week 1 of the Victory Road World Cup. We're gonna take a little bit of a breather here. We're gonna do a little bit of rotation with us casters, and then we'll be back for match 3 here. On Victory Road.
I believe that's it for you today, right? From your side.
Yes, unfortunately so. I have some places to be today, but I'll be trying to keep an eye on what's been going on through the stream. And it's been really nice getting back behind the desk with you, Shona.
Yeah, same, agree. For those who don't know, like Ben was one of the first people I casted with, and he basically taught me how to cast. So thank you so much, Ben. I loved casting with you again. Been a while, and yeah, we'll see you guys after the break.